Dr. Mark Changizi here with your Science Moment. As you know, we have a First Amendment lawsuit with the New Civil Liberties Alliance with Janine Eunice, our lawyer on point. Michael Sanger and Daniel Constant and I are the litigants. Our case is against the federal government for violating our First Amendment and all of your First Amendment by virtue of their censoring viewpoints that are opposed to theirs, especially since COVID occurred. Now, a lot of folks will say, well, look, Twitter's a private company, and this doesn't count as violation of the First Amendment because Twitter is just doing what it wants to do. It's highly left organization, which became associated with pro-COVID intervention kind of viewpoints, and so they just want to censor you, and that's their prerogative. Unless you can show, Mark, that they were coerced, but of course they're not coerced because they want to do it. They're prone to do it. Now, this is of course laughable a response. If that was their only response, their first response would be, well, that's pretty crappy of Twitter to do that. They're pretending to be a free expression oriented organization. And, they could at least put some moral approbation on Twitter and the other social media organizations who are pretending to be open-minded, but in fact censoring only one side. And that's terrible for the processes of free expression. But they don't even say that. They're just saying, oh, well, it's great with their private company. Something they would never, ever say if it was their side being censored. But let's set that aside. Just because Twitter isn't being coerced, and I think that they are being subtly coerced too, but let's suppose they're not being coerced. They're totally happy to do it. That kind of collusion with the federal government is also not allowed by the First Amendment. The government can't go find the actors out there in the private realm and say, oh, who's willing to work with us to help us censor the voices of those that are opposed to us, right? So we're assuming Twitter really wants to censor us and wants to work with the federal government to censor us and then collaborate with them, collude with them, work together to ensure that we're censored. The federal government can't do that. They can't do that. The fact that Twitter is happy to do it does not justify the federal government working with them to do that. I just want to nip that about the number of times people have said this on Twitter and other places. Yeah, well, Twitter just wants to do it. It's a private company, and so they can do it, even if it happens to be that the federal government also wants it. No, they're working together. Which people are being censored and suspended is coming at the direction in the interaction and the talk, back and forth to one another between these entities. This is collusion to use the powers of private enterprise and the infrastructure that they've built so that the federal government can more ably censor their opponents. That is not allowed by the First Amendment. And First Amendment set aside, this should make your moral antennae ring like crazy. But you see no ringing because the left today has lost their understanding for the importance of free expression altogether. They're happy for their opposition to be banished, which is in fact, in the long run, terrible for them as well. That was your Science Moment. Defend free expression. Support our Free Expression Research Institute, freex.group. Go take a look. Find ways to donate. Find ways to buy books like our Expressly Human. Subscribe to become a member of my Substack, markchangizi.substack. Become a subscriber to the YouTube channel under my name, Mark Changizi. Any of these things are helpful to get the word out on the importance and the science underlying free expression. That was your Science Moment.